And we are back in the studio. We have set up the wall of synthesizers. Now we need to plug them all in. But before we can do that, there are a couple more chores to attend to. We're going to look behind the scenes now. And I think this is very important, is being able to get behind all of this stuff so that you can do whatever you need to. As you can see, the illuminator is right behind the big Eurorack case so that I will be able to use RS8 or whatever it is to help sequence the illuminator to have the lights going in synchronization with the music. Here we have a setup for a smart MIDI station. This is actually probably going to be over by the string and micro station, however. Here you see a lot of zip ties. I'm going to use these to secure all of these stands to the bottom stands. And this is actually very important because these will slide around, and the last thing I need is for one of these to come toppling over back behind. That would not be very fun. Next up is the headphone splitter that I use for monitoring. And then underneath the 2600, we have a number of things. I've got the Converter Plus, which I can use to convert any audio signal into CV and gate. Here's a handy MIDI utility, the RK007 James Bond. Another smart MIDI setup, which will go here. The oscilloscope can go here. And then I have the acid box. And over here are the lovely Roland boutiques, including the DO5 down on the table. The issue with the boutiques is they are going to generate some awful digital noise. Right now, everything is powered off, and most things are not even hooked in. I just want to talk about this potential setup. I may have bitten off more than I can chew. Let's talk about it. Let's start over here with the center of the operation, the brains, the mighty Scorp Pyramid. All of the stands are now fastened and secured to themselves. Hopefully nothing will topple over. So like as I push into this to patch stuff, it's not going to fall over. It's a little wobbly, but that's okay. You know, when I touch these things, they're not going to fall over. I swapped out the power supply units yet again because I wanted to be able to use those power supply units instead for the Korg Mini Chaos pads. What I have done since is I was able to integrate now the Erica Synths Acid Box 2, the Sonic Smith Converter Plus, and the Plankton Electronics Spice. Right now, we are listening to my voice through the TC Helicon Voice Tone Create XT, and I'm going to now engage the Acid Box 2, although it is a bit noisy, as we can hear. But this gets kind of fun, so I'm going to disengage the voice tone now. We should be able to hear my voice coming through. And we can do some really cool stuff with it. And what can I add? This is just a pretty cool pedal, but it is getting kind of noisy, so we'll have to probably work on the noise level next. Pretty silly, eh? So the way I'm able to access the Acid Box 2 is through the patch bay. So what I can do, hopefully, is we can now test out the Sonic Smith converter. And this allows me to sound like this. I can't think of anything really more synth punk than that. And now we're going to move over to the Plankton Electronic Spice. It's pretty noisy, as we can hear. I want to now disengage my voice from the voice tone. So what is next? Next is to set up all the cameras and do a little stream test to make sure that no noise is introduced when I'm streaming, which will be okay if it does, because when I'm recording audio I won't be streaming. And then once that is complete, I will start working on setting up MIDI, which is going to be really insane. Getting ready for cameras. I've got stands ready to go. I may have to move them around, do some more adjustments. What I want to do next, however, is get these two stands drilled onto this wooden cabinet, which means I got to remove all of this stuff now. All right, I mounted the cameras temporarily. Again, I will make adjustments. This one is currently not plugged into anything because I'm testing with this camera, as we can see here. So this looks pretty good, I think. I will take this down later today, but in the meantime, I was able to get the foundation of my MIDI setup started. This is so complicated. I don't have time to go into this again, but essentially what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to start the pyramid from the BassBot TT303, just like that. And then when I switch these over, and that just should be one switch, that's my fault. Now I want to be able to start the TT303 from the pyramid. And that works out great. The other thing I need to be able to do, switch this back, is I need to be able to actually record the pattern in from the BassBot. And I see that, yes, it was recorded. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to mess around with the outputs of the BassBot and the drum drone. And I'm going to just go through and check out every track of all of my mixers and note any inconsistencies or anything that's just not working properly. Of course, first, I'm going to take all of that apart and mount those camera stands. And I totally forgot to mention, if you notice, I had to move out the RD9. I also had to move out the Crave and the EC4 because despite me setting everything up correctly, it did not work the first time. And I really should have known better. I should have known to just go ahead, remove these things so I can swap cables in and out and just kind of test this setup to make sure it would work first. But the problem this time, I'm telling you, I'm starting to worry about these silver boxes, unfortunately. We already know in the past that my TT606 has a problem. This selector is no longer working at all, and I have no idea how to fix it. And the TT78, I was kind of suspecting this, but its MIDI input jack is starting to become intermittent. Maybe I can just clean it and it's fine, but I don't want to have to take it apart. At some point, though, I am going to have to take the TT606 apart to fix this problem. What a bummer. I was successfully able to install these two camera mounts into the bookshelf. Now I have two vantage points anytime I want to do microstation jams. The problem, however, is that I have 6 cameras and only 4 inputs into my video switcher for streaming. So I had to use another video switcher in order to get this camera into the streaming mix. So this camera is going to share along with this camera, which is pointed down at this side of the synthesizers. And I was able to install a new shelf underneath the TV set so I can clear up some more room. And as we can see, that camera is pointed at the synthesizers on that side. So all I need to do is to click the button on the video switcher here, and now I can stream microstation jams. And to wrap up this video, I have installed the VidPix. So now we can do this. Thanks for watching again, and I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. See you next time.